Well, it is 6:30, so we are going to go ahead and start. Welcome everyone to the Application 101 webinar. We're going to go over all about how to apply and a little bit about our school, but I would like to open us up in prayer, if you'll pray with me. Heavenly Father, thank you for bringing us together tonight. Guide us as we learn about the application process and give each family wisdom and peace as they consider what is best for their student. Bless our time together and the decisions ahead. Amen.
Mm.
All right. So tonight we are going to talk a little bit about faith, the application facts, some important dates you're going to want to know about, and we'll have a Q&A at the end. During the presentation, if you do have questions that come up, go ahead and use that Q&A button. There's a little area that you can put questions in, and we'll be moderating those throughout the presentation. If there's anything we can answer during the presentation, we will, but most of those answers will be done at the end of the webinar. So my name is Abby Fox, and I am the Director of Admissions and Retention here at Faith, and I am also an alumni. I graduated here in 2003. We have four people in our awesome admissions team. Jen, who is also joining us on the webinar, she's going to be helping me with the Q&A. And we have two others, Erin Tobin and Julie McCullough. Both of them are integral part of this team as well. You will hear from all four of us throughout the process with document processing and reminders throughout the whole time. So a few fun facts. Our mission statement is everyone prepared, everyone saved. We want everyone that meets the admissions process to be able to come to faith and learn a little bit more about Jesus and be prepared for the future, whether that is coming in for middle school and preparing them for high school, or coming in at high school and preparing them for the future for college or whatever their plans are. We opened this school in 1979. The current campus is actually our third campus. We moved here in 1998. We have about 2,435 students this year, which is the most that we've ever had on campus, which is really exciting. There's about 1,500 in the high school and then 934 in our middle school. Our average class size is about 21 to 1 students to teacher ratio. And the picture right there is our mascot, Crusader Lou. All right, so moving on to the application facts. Applications are going to open this coming Monday, the 31st, which is a little bit earlier than we normally do it, but we are giving you a little bit more time to get those applications submitted and all the documents done before our due dates. So our process, you are going to submit your application with the $100 non-refundable fee. There's going to be two phases in our process. If this is your first time applying, this is going to be new, of course. But if you've applied to other students before, we have a little bit different process this year. We're going to go in two phases. So you're going to upload your first set of documents, which are your standardized testing scores, pass report cards, and birth certificates right away, right after your application is processed. And then phase two is not going to open up until after the first quarter. And we're going to go over all the details on all of that. And then if your child is going to be or could be a fit for Faith Lutheran, they're going to be invited to an interview. And then our admissions decisions come out the middle of February. So just know that this is for new students only. So if you are joining us and you are already a Faith Lutheran student for the middle school or high school, you do not have to reapply. We have continuous enrollment. So this is not something you have to do for anybody that already goes to Faith Lutheran. Okay, so our middle school, every student is fully on campus. They do all 8 classes here on campus. But then in the high school, we have 3 different programs that we offer. We offer our fully on campus student, where they take all 8 classes, up to 1 to 2 classes online. And then we have a hybrid program, which is on campus and online. So they'll take 4 classes online, 4 classes in person. There's a lot of students that also will take like 5 classes online and only 3 on campus. So you can kind of work around your schedule. And then we have fully online, where they take all 8 classes online. Every student, no matter if they're hybrid, fully on campus, or fully online, are full Faith Lutheran students. And they get to participate in everything with student life, athletics, anything that is going on after school with clubs and extracurriculars. So, how to apply. Next Monday, our website is going to add this apply button at the top where you see this circle. You're going to click on that button and it's going to take you straight to the application page. If you have not applied before, it's going to ask you to create an account. If you have not applied before, make sure you don't click sign in with Google. You're going to want to make sure you create that account first. Otherwise, it will tell you your Blackbaud ID doesn't work, and then you'll have to call us and we figure out the process. But make sure you click that create account first before you try to apply. Once you've created your account and you press that apply button, this is the screen you might see. So if you already have a student on campus, you are going to see there's multiple children in that top left corner. You'll want to make sure that you select the right one and press that start application button. If you don't see that, you can also use the bottom right button that says apply another child. So if you have multiple children here, you can apply another child straight in Crusader Connect. Every student that you're going to apply needs to have their own application. You can't add them both together on one. All right, so fun fact, if you, before this multiple households part, you're going to put your student's name and their first name and their last name, and then it's going to say nickname. That nickname is not what you call them at home. So if you have a 16-year-old boy who you call Sunshine at home, don't put that here because that's what we are going to call them in our office forever. That's what the teacher is going to call them their very first day of school when they do roll. And then you're going to call us and go, oh my goodness, I didn't know this was public. It was just what I call him at home and for fun. That nickname is the preferred name that you would like them to be called in the classroom. So once you get past those regular questions about the names and different things, we are going to ask for the household. If you have multiple households, we do want to know that. If they live in multiple houses with either a grandparent or another parent, a step parent, we want to know those so we have the accurate information on the contact card. This helps you in the future when somebody tries to come pick them up from school or calls for information. If they're not on the contact card, then they cannot get that information given to them. So it's really important that you do this step correctly on the application. So if your student has an IEP or a 504 and has accommodations at their school, we want to know about that. We have so many resources to help the students through schooling here at Faith. We have an entire center that helps them. So we need to know all of this information. It needs to be accurate. We will have you, if they do qualify and they have an IEP or 504, we are going to have just a little bit more on your checklist that you need to submit. And then our academic resource program is that those teachers are going to review the files and help us go through the process. You'll also come in on campus and do an in-person interview instead of a Zoom interview, but we're going to get back to that in a little bit. So yes, when you're going through this part of the application, you want to make sure you're very accurate in those answers you give us. So this is what you are going to get after you apply. The application takes about 15 minutes. It doesn't take very long at all. When we get it in our offices, we are going to process that. It could take 2 to 3 business days to get that done. And then you are going to get an email in your email that says, hey, there's a checklist assigned to your account. And then you're going to log into Crusader Connect and you're going to see this page. I'm sorry, Jen, I did not see. Is there a question pertaining to that last slide?
No, just a comment from me.
Okay,
I wanted to just
perfect.
reiterate what Abby is saying that accuracy is most important with the application. We are not numbering the applications and letting kids in based on what number their application is. We'd prefer you to take your time and make sure that information is accurate because it truly builds their profile for the whole time they're at Faith. So if it takes you a couple days or you need to pause and look something up, that's totally fine. It'll save your progress as you're doing it if you need to come back another time.
All right, awesome. So this is going to be what your checklist looks like when you log back into Crusader Connect. So you can see the birth certificate, most recent standardized testing scores is going to be another thing that we need. That date needs to be sometime in 2026. So if they haven't taken their standardized testing scores yet this school year, you will upload what they did last spring. Most schools do it in the spring and the fall. So we will take last spring from January until now, those testing scores. And then we're going to need both the 2024 and 25 school year and the 25-26 school year, those grades. And those grades, you're going to get the report cards from the school that needs to have the student name on it. It needs to have the school name, the year, and all of that. And then the additional documents to be requested is always going to show like that. It's always going to look undone. If you upload something into there, we will accept it and send you a note that says, "Hey, thank you for uploading, but we're going to go ahead and keep it at that wave stat or that awaiting status." So then that way we can keep track of different things in our checklist. And then the document submission. So this is only first phase. All you're going to see is the first phase of the checklist right now, right after you submit your application. All right, so phase two is going to open on October 9th. That's after the first quarter is completed. You're going to get an email that is reminding you from one of us that says, "Hey, it is time to upload the rest of your documents." And then if you wait to apply until after October 9th, all of the steps from the first slide that you saw to this one are going to be open for you. You are going to turn in the 26-27, which is the current school year, first quarter grades. We need it to be the full first quarter grades. It can't be a progress report from the beginning of September. It needs to actually be the first quarter report card. Then you're going to turn in at least two evaluation forms. So one is from the English teacher, which is the current English teacher, not years past, but the current one. And then one is the administrative evaluation form, and that can be principal, vice principal, dean, a counselor, somebody at the school that can look at the student's permanent record. And then we have a third optional recommendation that you can send out, and that's for the character reference. That is going to be somebody that is not a family member that will fill that out for you. It could be, we would prefer it to be another teacher at the school that they're at right now, but it can also be a tutor, a coach, a youth pastor, somebody along that line. So this is kind of all the documents all put into one slide. You see the phase one that's going to be open right away after you finish that application. And then phase two will be after the first quarter. I do want to let you know that if you are on a trimester system with the school that you're at, that is okay. The first trimester ends the end of October, which means you're not going to have your grades until the beginning of November, and that is okay. We will wait until you get those grades to process them. Again, there's no rush. As long as you get them in by the date in December, then you are good to go. And then the evaluation forms are also after that date. The reason why we do this is that we want to make sure that your student has the best possible evaluation from the teacher and the admin. We don't want you to try to request it now and then English teacher says, "Well, I've only known them for 3 weeks and I have nothing to say." We want them to have the best possible option to have a good evaluation from the teacher and the admin. Okay, so homeschool applicants, we do take students that have been homeschooled. It's going to be the same process as students that are in a traditional school. We are going to need documented curriculum for the last 3 years. And that is if you do your own curriculum, that's okay. We have a kind of a template that you can give us what they take and the grades they took. If you are at somewhere that has a curriculum like Delta or Nevada Learning Academy, they have their curriculum, they have official report cards, and we will take all of those. A lot of homeschool applicants do not have standardized testing, and so we will proctor standardized testing here on campus. And that testing needs to be done on December 11th. We will have a few dates that you can choose from, but the student will come here on campus and take that if you do not have standardized testing from your school. So if you have any questions on that, you can reach out to the admissions office. We can answer all those questions and the scheduling questions as well for the testing. So one tip is that you will need to upload a PDF or a JPEG in the correct checklist item. If you have a multi-page report card, we need it in a PDF because it's multi-page. Our system will only take one document at a time. So if you attempt to upload 4 pages that are JPEGs that you just took a picture of into our system's only going to accept the 1 page. So put all those together in a PDF and upload them all together will be helpful. Every file is going to need the student's name and the document type. And then all report cards need to have all the grades, every single grade. So if there's any missing, that means you'll need to request an updated one, the student name and the school year. And then all test scores need to have the student name, the type of test, and the test date. One of the things that we have a hard time with the testing is that they'll upload it to a portal that you guys might have, and the portal will not show the student's name or the date it was taken. It will just show your student's score on that. And so we need the official document that comes from the school with all that information to be able to accept it. And then when you're uploading things, if there's an issue with any of the documentation, one of us will reach out via email. We'll send an official note through Crusader Connect that says, the 24-25 report card was fine, but the 25-26 one was incomplete, so please re-upload that. And it'll give details on there and instruction of what you need to do. So for our evaluations, they are sent through our Crusader Connect. These are not letters of recommendation. You do not have to have anybody fill out or write a letter. These are all evaluation forms where the teachers and the admin are answering questions for us. So it's very easy. All you have to do is know their name and their email address, and you are going to go and click that start button. And you'll put their name, their email address. If you would like to put additional comments, you can. Otherwise, you just press that send button and it goes straight to them. If they haven't filled it out after, a week or two, you can feel free to go in and resend a reminder. We will also send you reminders if things aren't, if they're not completed and at certain times. And then that character reference is optional, but it is helpful for the student. If for whatever reason, if you're applying for 7th grade and you were supposed to request your English teacher for 5th grade, but you accidentally requested it for the 4th grade, or you sent it to the wrong admin, or somebody's not answering and you need to resend it, that's okay. You can just log right back into Crusader Connect and click resend. You can see the example right there. When you click resend, it's going to pop up the screen on the right-hand side that gives you different options. You can resend it to that person as a reminder. You can send it to that person with a different email if their email was wrong, typed in wrong, or you can send it to a different person completely. And then you'll press send and that will go to the next person. So every applicant has an interview with one member of the admissions team, a teacher, or an administrator. Most of the interviews are done via Zoom. The only ones that are in person are those that are applying for our academic resource department. Most interviews are under 30 minutes, 20 to 30 minutes, and these interviews will begin in January. There's going to be 2 parts to it. The student is going to answer some questions, and then parents come back in on camera and they answer some questions at the end. Our admissions decisions will be released middle of February. Those will come via email. You're going to get an email that says your decision has been posted to Crusader Connect, and you're going to log into Crusader Connect, and the decision will show there. After that first initial decisions that are posted, we will have a rolling admissions as long as there's availability in the grades. And that goes from mid-February through August, but there's some years that we close that earlier because we fill up in the grades. Anybody with an unfinished checklist is going to be inactivated on January 29th. So as long as you are still continuing to do things, we will keep it open, but anybody that is kind of inactive and not uploading their documents will be closed after that date. So after acceptance, you are going to log into Crusader Connect and you're going to see a contract posted. You're going to read that contract, sign it, and pay the $1,200 enrollment fee within 2 weeks of that. And that's not 2 weeks business days, it's 2 full weeks. You are going to pay that. within those 14 days. That's very, very important that that gets done. After that, everybody gets excited and thinks that they're done, but they're not done. We have immunization records that need to be completed and a new student health form for our health office. And then you're going to register for placement testing, and that is in April. There's going to be 2 dates here on campus. Everybody comes in person for those testing dates in April. And then you're going to request classes and electives as well. Middle school requested a little bit different than high school, and the counselors at that point will go over everything that they need to do. Okay, so this is what it's like checklist after checklist after checklist. It just keeps growing. So this is the enrollment checklist. This is what you're going to see after you accept your decision. You see the contracts, the immunization, the health form, and then registering for placement tests are all done here on the checklist. There's always a possibility for a waiting pool for the 27-28 school year. We have a waiting pool every year. There's a rumor that goes around town that it's 850 to 1,000 people long. It is not that long. So I'm going to squash that rumor. But we do end up having a waiting pool every year for specific grades, depending on what the demand on that is. So it is really important that you get your application and all of your documents in by that December 18th for the priority consideration. That is the date that once if you get everything done in time, then we get your interviews done on time and you can be part of that first round of decisions. So this is our enrollment and tuition information. Our enrollment fee is $1,200 and that is due when you sign your contract. There is a sibling discount on the enrollment fee. The tuition for next school year is $17,955, and there's payment options available. You can pay it all up at all at once if you would like, but you can also split it up in half or in 10 monthly payments. We do have financial aid available that you can apply for, and there's no sibling discounts for tuition. There are other costs to consider. Students will have to buy school uniforms and will have to buy school books. It is on average 500. That could be higher or lower depending on what classes they take. More specialized classes have different kinds of books, and so that is a rough estimate of what our students have to pay. All right, so for financial aid, if you are in need of financial aid, you can apply for that on January 1st. Can't do anything before that. It's all done through the fax company, and it's based on tax information. There's a bunch of different questions that they ask you. It's all needs based, and so they're basing it off of your tax information and your bills and other things that are a part of that application. And so that's going to be starting the beginning of the year, January 1st. You have to start that application before you receive an admissions decision. The fax application can take 4 to 6 weeks, and our decisions go out middle of February. So if you do not start that application by January 1st, there's a good chance you won't have your financial aid decision before we send out our decisions, and we can't delay our decisions if you haven't started that financial aid application. So it's really important that you get that started at the beginning of January. The maximum financial award amount is up to 50% of the total tuition. So there's some people that will get 10%. Some people can get the full 50%. And so that's just know that it's up to 50% total. We will also accept funds from Nevada Choice, scholarships, AAA. There's a few different things around town and through the state of Nevada that you can apply for, but none of that is done through us. The only things that we offer is through that fax. Okay, so the important dates. This is the fun part. These are all of our events. So if you are a rising ninth grader, so if you're an eighth grader this year going into ninth grade, we have a Future Freshman Day, which the students are dropped off here at Faith, and they get to spend 4.5 hours here on campus. They are going to take a tour. They're going to shadow some classes. They get to meet teachers, admin. They get to go with our welcome crew students for different things on campus. Those are our student ambassadors. It's a lot of fun. They can kind of see what it's like to be here on campus during a school day. If you have a fifth grader going into sixth grade, we have a Future Crusader Day. This is a day that we do not have school on campus in the afternoon, so we can welcome 350 fifth graders to overrun our school with our Welcome Crew kids. It's very similar to Future Freshman Day. They get to come to school, they eat lunch in our cafeteria, they bring a sack lunch and eat that here with their friends. They get to see what chapel is like and a pep assembly is like and a PE class, and they get to meet all the sixth grade teachers. So it is a ton of fun for those fifth graders to see what it's like here on campus. For all high school applicants, we have a brand new event this year called High School Preview Night. So this is for our current eighth grade families, but also anybody from that's applying that has an eighth grader all the way through junior year. So if you have somebody that you're applying for next year for high school, you are welcome to come. This is going to be a night that we have a few different presentations. You're going to hear from our conservatory director, and he's going to talk about auditions for the conservatory. The director of our academies is going to talk about all the different options for the academies in high school. And then we also have presentations from the athletics. And so you can meet coaches, and there's going to be teachers all over campus. All the doors will be open. You can roam campus and see all the classrooms. And so it's going to be a really cool night for our high schoolers to come hear from all of those people. And then we will have one Explore Faith open house this year on November 14th. That is really it's geared for everybody. The Future Freshman Day and Future Crusader Day are for the kids only. So that Explore Faith is going to be the time that's perfect for the parents. You can bring your kids to come explore the campus. It's kind of a choose your own adventure type of thing. And you will get a map and you'll see where the teachers are. We have a fair in the student center in our cafeteria where you can meet admin and counselors and student life and all of the people here on campus. So all those registration links are now live on the link down below. It's just our website and then /visit, and you can apply or you can register for all those events. All right, so your to-do list, you are going to complete your application right away on Monday if you're able to. And then right after that, 2 to 3 days after that, you're going to complete the phase one of your admissions checklist. And then it's kind of a hurry up and wait. Everybody panics and does everything in the first week, and then they have nothing to do for a month and a half. So then you're just going to patiently wait for that October 9th date, and you're going to finish phase two of the checklist. Our preferred checklist date the completion date is going to be December 18th. That's right before Christmas break, where our goal is to get you through that process before that date. And then our interviews are going to take place in January. It starts second week of January. And if you have all of your stuff done by that December 18th date, you're going to get your Zoom interview request on that week. And then in January, at the beginning of January, you can also apply for financial aid. Our decisions are going to be released the middle of February. So the second week of February is our goal. And then placement testing will be done in April. All right, so that's our phone number. That phone number rings to all four of our phones. So feel free to give us a call if you have questions. We also have an email for the admissions department that all four of us we all read those too and answer as we can. There are times where every single one of us is on the phone and we're busy, so feel free to just leave us a message and somebody will get back to you as soon as we can. So this is the time that we get to answer some questions. So Jen, what do we have?
There we go.
There we go.
Sorry, I was on mute. So, I know there's lots of events on campus. Are we also offering tours?
We do have private tours. They are spread out through the months of September, October, and November. There might be some in December as well. If you go onto our website on that same one that was the link, the faithlutheranlv.org/visit, you will see a tour request form. You'll fill that out, and then when we have tour openings, we will email you and let you know that you can sign up for one of those.
Perfect. Let's see. What is the school's approach for cell phones?
The cell phone policy is actually updated this year. So no student can have their cell phone in between the morning bell. So in middle school, they can't have it at all between the first bell and the end of the day. So for the whole time they're here, they can have it in their backpacks, but it has to be turned off. In high school, they have to have it turned off for the entire day except for lunch. They're allowed to have it on during lunch.
Perfect. Can you talk a little bit about the placement test and maybe what it's going to cover?
Yeah. So in middle school, they're going to take a math placement test, and it's just going to place them into their math class. It is not going to affect their admissions decision. They've already been accepted, and they're just taking this to place them into their math class. In high school, it's used the same way. It's going to place them into their math class, as well as if they would like to take honors English. There is a test for that. That is what we've done in the past. This coming year, I believe we're moving to everybody's taking the English and math class or math test in high school, but more information will come out with that as well. There is one thing to know that if you took, this is for high schoolers, if you took Algebra 1 in eighth grade and your placement test is low, they may have you retake Algebra 1 because we want you to have the good foundation of that class before moving on. And so they will look at your past classes mixed with the current classes to figure out what class they need to take.
Perfect. There's a lot of questions about just high school in general, like the academies, honor society. Maybe could you talk a little bit more about what's going to be at high school preview night so people know that they should go to that?
Yes, yes, for sure. Come to high school preview night because that is going to go over all the academies in detail. Mrs. Blank is going to do a presentation and go through all six academies and what they entail, what the prerequisites that they should take in their ninth grade year, and all of those details, as well as there's going to be about 35 to 40 minutes after her presentation to ask questions and meet all of the teachers in those classrooms and in the Hook Center where the other teachers will be. And then for like Honors Institute and those kind of things, our counselors will be on campus that night to answer all those specific questions as well.
Perfect. Can you speak to campus security a little bit? There's a couple questions about the hours before and after care and just the safety in general.
Our campus opens at 7 a.m. That is when our security comes on campus as well as teachers. And so students can be here as early as 7 a.m., but not before then. And then our security is on campus until the last event of the day ends. And so if there is a basketball game and it goes until 10 o'clock because, triple overtime or whatever, they are here until the last person leaves campus. We do have a gate that is locked all the way around campus as soon as the drop off bell ends, and so about 8:30, nobody can get on campus anywhere except two spots. There's one over by the football field that there's a security guard posted, and you have to go through him, and then the other is from our front desk, and so there's gates that go all the way around campus that are locked all day.
Perfect. So do we accept students from other religious backgrounds?
Yes, we do. We have a lot of faith is kind of the melting pot for religions. We have a lot of majority Christian students, but we also have a wide variety of different religions of students go here, and that's why our mission is everyone prepared, everyone saved. We want everyone to come to Faith Lutheran if they are able to and if they qualify. And we don't expect everyone to believe what we believe, but we want them to respectfully be able to learn about the Christianity and learn from there.
Can you talk a little bit about reclassing? Specifically, do we allow kids in middle school that are going to try to reclass before high school and maybe what the process is for that?
Yes. So we do allow students to reclass before they come to Faith or reclass when they come here. So if you've already taken eighth grade and you would like to reclass eighth grade again and come here for eighth grade, we do allow that as long as the grades all line up. There is a new rule though for anybody that's planning on doing this for athletic The NIA just passed a rule that if you turn 19 before August of your senior year, you cannot participate in any sports your senior year. So that is a brand new rule that just went into implementation this school year, and it's affecting a lot of students right now. So just know that if you reclass and you are too old, you can participate ninth, 10th, and 11th grade, but it is affecting senior year.
Perfect. Oh, this is a good one I can answer. Um, an easy one. If you have a Crusader Connect account already, you definitely should use that same account to apply another child because then that keeps your family in the same file. It helps for, you as a parent and for the finance office when they're building your tuition account and all that good stuff. Let's see. Um, do you know when all the sports meetings are and when we would communicate that to new families?
Yeah, so fall sports normally start for high school. It's different for middle school and high school. High school will start the first Saturday of August. So information about that starts going out in April to all families, and we send that out in our different communications. Middle school doesn't normally start. The only sport that starts early for middle school is tackle football, which is for seventh and eighth graders, and that will start in June. And so, if you are accepted, you'll start getting information on that in April. But every other middle school sport will not start until the second week of August. And that's tryouts are still going on right now, and we're in the third week, last week of August actually. And so, yes, with that, and then for other sports, those will start being released. The winter sports stuff has already interest forms have already gone out to students, and so those go on our weekly announcements, and then teachers will or the coaches will start reaching out to the students.
So a couple people are asking, how many students are we going to accept per each grade? I know that's hard to answer.
It is very hard to answer. So there for middle school is easy. I can tell you it's 312 for 312 for sixth grade, 315 for seventh grade, and 318 for eighth grade. That is how many students that we can have in each grade. The amount of students we accept is going to base off of how many have continued. So we have 312 spots open in sixth grade, but when we go to seventh grade and we only have the 315, if no one in sixth grade leaves and they all come back for seventh grade, we only have three spots. Same with eighth grade. We will only have three spots if no one leaves. So the amount of students that we can accept in middle school is dependent on that. And then in high school, we do raise from eighth grade to ninth grade. We go up about 100 students. But the numbers in high school are kind of flexible because we have our online program. So a lot of students do hybrid. And so right now we have 398 freshmen, but that could go up to 450 freshmen if they decide lot more decided to do hybrid or a lot more decided to do fully online. So the high school numbers are kind of all over the place. It's middle school that are very firm.
Do we do any additional testing besides the placement test?
No, we just take your standardized testing scores in the application process and then the testing, the placement test at the end.
Let's see. Do we have any like minimum grades that we're looking at? Is there a threshold when people are applying? Or if you could speak to that more, that would be great.
Yeah, so we want obviously academics comes first, and we want students to have great grades and be successful in the classroom. But we also know that some students struggle in certain grades. And so having a C in math one semester isn't going to kill your chances. That's why we ask for 3 years of grades, because then we can see what the progress has been in the past, where they're struggling, and that sort of thing. So there's no like baseline, you have to hit this GPA. It's going to be more about finding the student that is going to fit here at the school, both academically, extracurricularly, and culturally.
Do we anticipate the start and end times changing next year?
There's no talk about that right now. So I don't think so. It's been basically the same. I think it's only changed 5 minutes in the last 10 years.
Let's see. Sorry, I'm reading a couple questions. I know you guys have some very specific ones that might pertain just to your student. If you want to shoot us an email to the admissions email address, we can give you a more detailed answer that'd be more tailored to you. That might be helpful for some of these questions, just so we can make sure we're getting you the right answer for you. But yeah, really attending those events coming up can also be, it's much different when you actually see everything in person and we have all the experts for each of the fields, the teachers, the admin, the counselors there that can really give you that, their perspective from what you're asking. Let's see. Anyone else? I think they've slowed down, Mrs. Fox.
Okay, awesome. Well, thanks everyone for joining. We did record this, so we will post it on our website in the next couple days. And so if you need to rewatch it to go over any of those details, you can, or if you need to share it with somebody that wasn't able to come to the webinar tonight, you are more than welcome to do that as well.